What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Something I've noticed since doing these videos in this location is how disgustingly dirty that door is. Thanks to the dog. Aspen, come here. See if you can see. This is our doggy, Aspen. You say hi? You say hi? Hello. Yeah. You're the one that made that door dirty. Gross. She likes to slobber and lick and jump all on it, but as soon as I clean it, she dirties it up again. So why? All right, so we've got an angry Mama and Papa doll because they were an hour late getting back from their exploration, and it took them 15 minutes to go down the stairs, and they were not thinking about how long it was going to take them to get back up those stairs. So remember yesterday at the end of our chapter, I told you that chapter 10 was called Uncle Doll Moves Out. It's kind of extreme because as of right now, we have no reason to think that he would. We can tell he's a little tense and a little stressed about the whole situation. I mean, Auntie Sarah is his wife. His wife has been missing for all these years. And it sounds like there's a little bit of tension that we're not quite clear about between him and Mama and Papa Doll. Maybe when Auntie Sarah went missing, Uncle Doll, of course, wanted to go look for her. That's his wife. And Mama and Papa Doll might have been a little more, we're just a little nervous about that. And that could have caused some tension between them. So let's go ahead to chapter 10 and get started. Uncle Doll moves out. Annabelle, we were worried about you, said Mama. Very worried, said Papa. I know, I'm sorry. I knew you'd be worried. I forgot how long it would take us to climb back up the stairs. Annabelle, we cannot continue to let you leave the house if you're not going to be responsible about it, said Papa. I'm trying to be responsible. I really am, said Annabelle. I told Tiffany 15 minutes ahead of time that we had to stop looking, but the stairs... Annabelle was interrupted by Uncle Doll. Did you see any signs of Auntie Sarah? He asked. Papa Doll looked as though he were going to say something, but he kept his mouth closed. No, replied Annabelle, not a sign. We called down the heating vents in case she had fallen down one, and we searched the rest of the living room. We thought we'd go in the kitchen the next time we go out. She glanced at Mama and Papa. I can go out, can't I? She said, even though she knew this probably wasn't the best time to ask such a question. Mama clasped her hands together. I don't know, Annabelle, she said. She glanced at Papa. We can't make that promise. Annabelle stood very still. Please, she said at last. This is important to me. And you are important to us, said Papa. When you're late, Mama continued slowly, we sit here and worry about you. Worry that, just like Auntie Sarah, you won't come home at all. But, said Annabelle. She glanced at Uncle Doll. Uncle Doll sat on the sofa. He put his head in his hands. Nanny sat next to him. So we can, based on this picture, we can infer that Uncle Doll's the whole situation's getting to him a little bit. He's a little sad about everything. She looked at Mama and Papa standing stiffly in the doorway. What? Said Annabelle quietly. Really happened to Auntie Sarah. You know, don't you? All you grown-ups know. You know the truth, and you won't tell me. No, said Mama, that isn't so, Annabelle. We don't know what happened to her. But you know something, said Annabelle, and you won't tell me what it is. It isn't that so much, Papa Doll began. It's that we had a disagreement. An argument, interrupted Uncle Doll. All right, an argument, said Papa. An argument about what we did after Auntie Sarah disappeared. An argument about what we didn't do, muttered Uncle Doll. I don't understand, said Annabelle. Mama Doll sighed. Your uncle felt we should have made more of an effort to find her, she said. We should have made any effort, said Uncle Doll. We didn't do a thing. We couldn't, spoke up Nanny. We would have put ourselves in danger. We would have jeopardized. We could have figured out how to search for her, said Uncle Doll. But we never went looking, not once. How could we have? Asked Mama. Well, I just looked for her, said Annabelle. And we feel that you put yourself in danger, said Papa. Then why did you let me go? Mama and Papa looked pointedly at Uncle Doll. Because it's time we laid aside our fears and let common sense take over, said Uncle Doll. Running around the Palmer's house in the middle of the night and risking being seen is not common sense, said Mama. So we can tell right now that there's like two teams. We've got Mama Doll, Papa Doll, Nanny, who are kind of team stay at home. We don't want to risk putting ourselves in danger, permanent doll state. We feel like it's safe to be here. And then we've got Uncle Doll and kind of Annabelle, who are like, we've got to do something. We can't just stay here. We can't be scared of these things. She's our family. We got to go find her. And we're definitely at a disagreement here. Annabelle was looking from Mama to Papa to Nanny to Uncle Doll. She had never heard the grown-ups fight before, and now they were fighting, and Annabelle was the cause of it. Papa walked across the room and stood directly in front of Uncle Doll. Just what exactly do you think we should have done 45 years ago when Auntie Sarah didn't come back? I think we should have looked for her until we found her. We should have gone out in teams. We should have scoured the house, searched it by inch, from top to bottom. That, said Mama between clenched teeth, violates the code. If it violates the code, how did Sarah manage to leave the house on more than one occasion and keep coming back here? Annabelle drew in her breath. She wondered how often her aunt had left. Sounds like a lot. Before Annabelle could say anything, Mama Doll snapped. She went one step too far and didn't come back. She did violate the code, and that is what's going to happen to Annabelle if she keeps leaving the house. But maybe, said Annabelle, Auntie Sarah is missing because of something that has nothing to do with the code. Maybe she's just stuck somewhere. And she's been waiting all these years for her family to come and find her, Uncle Doll added pointedly. Annabelle thought then of the question she had asked her parents that they hadn't answered. If I were missing, she began, if I went out and didn't come back for days, wouldn't you come looking for me? Or would you just sit in the house and talk about me? Annabelle, don't be so insolent, said Nanny. But, Annabelle, I want to know, she said. Well, said Uncle Doll, looking at Mama and Papa and Nanny, what are you going to tell her? That you'd worry your heads off while you sat around the piano in the middle of the night singing Respect? Don't put words in our mouth, replied Papa. You really don't care what I think, do you? Said Uncle Doll. Just because I have a different opinion about this, because I don't agree with the three of you, then you're right and I'm wrong. Well, guess what? I'm tired of that. Uncle Doll paused. And guess what else? I'm moving out. You're what? Exclaimed Mama. I'm moving out. Annabelle heard a slight noise behind her and realized that Bobby, who had been playing in the nursery, was now standing at the bottom of the stairs watching and listening. He ran to Uncle Doll. You can't move out, he cried. Where would you go? And Nanny said, oh, now, don't be silly. I'm not being silly, said Uncle Doll. This is serious to me. This is all my fault, said Annabelle with a small moan. No, it isn't, Uncle Doll replied. I'm proud of you, Annabelle. You're the only one of us with true integrity. Annabelle frowned. True integrity? She tucked the words away in her head. She'd have to discuss them with Tiffany later. Uncle Doll ran up the stairs to his room, and a few minutes later he returned with several items tossed in a handkerchief, which he tied to a matchstick and placed over his shoulder. Farewell, he said gravely, as he threw the pack down the top step of the stool and began to climb after it. But where are you going? Asked Annabelle. To... Uncle Doll looked around. To the camper, he said with finality. Annabelle watched as Uncle Doll slid down the steps, landed on the floor of Kate's room, and hurried to the pink Barbie camper under the window. After a few minutes, she followed him, and when she reached the camper, she pulled open the door. Uncle Doll was reclining on an uncomfortable-looking cot, which Annabelle was fairly certain had not been part of the camper originally. Kate's fourth Barbie, this one with long chestnut hair, sat on the floor next to him, smiling quizzically. So that's the Barbie doll she's talking about. And there's Papa Doll. There's his little handkerchief tied to the matchstick, and here's Annabelle coming to see him. That looks like Emma's Barbie camper with a bunch of stuff thrown all over the place. Annabelle pointed to the Barbie. Permanent doll state? She asked Uncle Doll. No, didn't take the oath. Barbies never do. Well, that answers my question. Why I keep asking Emma's Barbies questions and they won't talk back to me. Uncle Doll, please come home. I don't want you to move out. I need some time to think. Well, what are you going to do in the morning? You can't let Kate find you in here with your pack. That would definitely violate the code. I know. I'll have to go back to the house before Kate wakes up. But during the day when the Palmers are out and at night when Kate's asleep, this is going to be my home. For how long? I don't know. Until your parents and I sort some things out. Annabelle didn't know what to say. I know you don't understand, Annabelle, Uncle Doll went on. This is just the way things have to be for a while. All right, I guess you want to be alone now. Uncle Doll nodded. So Annabelle left him and returned to the dollhouse. She went directly to her room and lay on her bed reading Auntie Sarah's diary until it was time for Kate to wake up. All the next day, while Kate was at school and Uncle Doll was thinking in Barbie's camper, Annabelle read the diary. No one disturbed her. She concentrated harder than ever, and by that night, when Kate was asleep and Annabelle was able to open the journal again, she was more than halfway through it. She had read another 10 pages when Tiffany appeared in the nursery. "Oh!" said Annabelle, startled. "Sorry," said Tiffany. "I didn't mean to scare you." "That's okay. I've just been reading the journal. I've been reading it forever. Everyone's leaving me alone." "Are you being punished?" Annabelle shook her head. "No, not really, but I have a lot to tell you." Tiffany sat on the end of the bed, tucking her feet under her. Annabelle began to relate the events of the previous night. When she reached the part about Uncle Doll moving out, Tiffany ran to the edge of the nursery and looked across Kate's room at the camper. "Is that where he's living?" she asked. So there's them sitting on her bed together, having a SELP meeting. "Part-time," replied Annabelle. "That's called a Barbie camper?" "Yes." "What's a Barbie?" "A doll. They probably don't make them in Marwin Ink Factory, though. Kate has about 7 Barbies, Nora has 3, and Emma has about 100. Tiffany returned to the bed and sat down. Again, she looked serious. "I can't imagine how I would feel if Mom or Dad moved out of our house." "The worst thing," said Annabelle, "is that it's all my fault." "But your uncle said you have true integrity." "What do you think that means?" "I'm not sure exactly, but I know it's a good thing. Like, you're very clear about what you believe in and you stand up for yourself. Or something. Anyway, he certainly doesn't seem mad at you. He seems proud." Annabelle nodded. "But about Auntie Sarah, I wonder what happened when she disappeared." "Well, of course, Uncle Doll's mad because Mama and Papa and Nanny refused to look for her," said Annabelle. "But I have a feeling there's something more. I keep trying to remember. I've been reading her journal all day for clues. You know what, Tiffany? We just have to find Auntie Sarah. I have a feeling that's the only way the grown-ups are going to stop being mad at one another. I made them all get mad, and now I have to make them apologize. But I don't think that's going to happen without Auntie Sarah." "Annabelle, are you certain she's in the house somewhere?" "Not positive, but I think she is, and that she's okay. I just have a feeling about it." Tiffany moved closer to Annabelle and peered at the journal. "Okay," she said, "let's keep reading. We have a lot of work to do." All right, so chapter 11 is called The Attic. So I bet that's where they're going to go looking on their next exploration. Hopefully, if Mama and Papa Doll let her go on another exploration. Things are a little tense in the Doll family right now, so I'm not sure how things are going to go. Okay, my sweet friends. I hope you guys are enjoying the book. I hope you're having a great week. It's so pretty outside. Go have some PE time outside today. PE every day. If you have not logged into Seesaw this week, I want you to do that. It wouldn't be a bad thing to start getting in the habit of logging into Seesaw every single day. I'm not going to start sending you stuff on Seesaw every single day for about another week, but just to start getting in the habit, you might want to start doing that. Just getting on there, check in, make sure there's nothing new added. Don't panic if nothing new is added, but just start getting in that habit, because once this packet of paper, the paper you're working on right now, runs out, all your work is going to be sent to you on Seesaw. So if you have any questions about any apps, anything, technology issues you're having, any questions about any of the problems on the work packet, just holler at me. I'm here to help. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.